Reading, and we have today a wonderful speaker, with Shilpi Mataji today. So definitely, being a spiritual explorer, sometimes it's very rare, in people to have that desire to understand spirituality. So she was actually seeking those paths, but after coming to in 2016 with Rohan Prabhu to USA and connecting to ISKCON devotees, joining Bhakta Vikshas, and while actually reading the journey home, that has inspired her actually to go really deeper in Krishna consciousness. And we have seen her; she's an amazing speaker, um, amazing artist in terms of drama and so many skills she has. And in professionally, she's an IT DevOps engineer, and we are here today to hear wonderful pastimes and the story from Srimad Bhagavatam, the Urvashi Enchants King Pururava. So this is a wonderful story. I think many might not have heard the story, but it's a very, very interesting story. So today we will relish this wonderful pastime from Shilpi Mataji. Shilpi Mataji, it's all yours. Please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ram Tulsi Prabhu. It's so nice to see you and everyone else. It's been a while. We have seen each other. I'm in India right now for one more week, and our India trip is going good so far. Um, and I hope that you all had a great Diwali and Govardhan Puja festival there at ISKCON of Bergen County. And so I'm going to go over this pastime. I want to really, really apologize because I had very short time to prepare for it because I had been traveling quite a bit, meeting family in Vrindavan, and so I had very, very short time to prepare for it. So I'm definitely going to make a lot of mistakes. So please forgive me for that. And I hope I'm able to cover what this story is actually trying to convey. Um, all right, so with that, I'll just share my screen quickly. Let's start one. To share 1 second. System preferences, amen. Zoom. Just 1 second, Prabhu. I think I'm unable to.
You are right now, Mataji?
I'm in Ahmedabad right now at Rohan's home. I'm unable to share screen. It is saying just 1 second.
Hare Krishna, everyone. What are we reading today?
So this is from story of Srimad Bhagavatam Prabhu, from Urvashi Enchants King Pururava.
So Krishna book, right?
Yes, it's from Krishna.
SharePoint, Google Drive. Okay, looks like I'm unable to share from this. Ram Tulsi Prabhu, I will be right back. I'll probably just log in from Rohan's laptop. Yeah, it's not allowing me to share my screen, and I'm unable to change the system preferences here because I'm not the admin of the laptop. I'll be right back.
Sure, yes. So again, Mataji trying to speak from India. This is also taking an opportunity, for us, giving us time on this Kartik with all the family times trying to spend. So definitely we don't want to miss those associations. And as I was saying, this is a really wonderful topic. Many might have not heard this story in past times. So Mataji is going to definitely share.
So it is a Srimad Bhagavatam canto number, or is this going to tell?
Sorry, bro.
So I can pull it on my phone. if you tell the verses or something.
If you're looking for Srimad Bhagavatam, it is on Canto 9, chapter 14.
9.14. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Lakaya Shakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Rama
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you hear me?
Hare Rama Rama
Ram
Rama
Tulsi Prabhu, Hare Krishna. Can you hear me?
Hare
Prabhu, Hare Bol.
We can hear you. Let me just call Ram. Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
Mataji.
Can you hear me? Ram Tulsi Prabhu.
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Can you make me a
Co-host?
co-host? It's logged in as Rohan. Actually, there are two. Oh, awesome. Okay, you did.
Yes, Mataji, you can try to share now.
It's showing advanced sharing options. Okay. Screen one. Okay. Right. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. Can you all see my screen now?
Yes, we can see Mataji.
Yeah. And am I audible?
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, awesome. All right. Thank you very much, Prabhu. And sorry about this small delay. Okay. So the story that we are going to discuss today is Urvashi
There's a way
Enchants.
to turn on the video, Mataji, by chance?
Oops, sorry, I forgot. Okay. Okay, 1 second. Yeah. Alrighty. So, okay. So Ramtulsi Prabhu, if you're not able to hear me or anything, just let me know.
Sorry, Mother.
If you're not able to hear me or anything during the presentation, just let me know.
Sure, sure, will do.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, okay. So the story that we are going to read today is Urvashi Enchants King Pururava. And before we start, I'm just going to go over the pranam mantras. Om Agyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Nama Om Vishudpadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. All right, so so this story is okay. Let's go through the story. So the scene one is most of us might have heard about Urvashi. She's a damsel. She's an apsara in King Indra's assembly. Okay, so Sage Narada was describing the qualities of King Pururava in King Indra's assembly. So he was glorifying King Pururava, that how he is so wealthy, he's so powerful, and he's so beautiful, so good looking. So how he was describing all the opulences of King Pururava. So while he was describing, while Sage Narada was describing King Pururava's opulences, Urvashi fell in love with King Pururava. Somehow, sometimes when we hear good things about people, we want to meet them, we want to see who they are, and, we want to meet them in person. Something similar happened to Urvashi. So she started having strong affinity for King Pururava. So she decided, and she was already cursed to because she was cursed to spend some time on planet Earth. So she's thought, let me use this opportunity. So she left the heavenly world, she left King Indra's assembly, and she came down on planet Earth with her two pets, two pet lambs, hoping to meet the king on Earth. So luckily, Urvashi found king's garden, and he found where the king lives and everything. And she was just trying to find where the king is, and the king was strolling in the garden at that time. So when Urvashi looked at the king in person, she fell more in love, because everything that was being told by Sage Narada, she could see that in person now, in reality. And somehow when the king also looked at Urvashi, he was also mesmerized by Urvashi's physical beauty, because of course she was very, very good looking, right? Maybe 100 or 1,000 times more beautiful than the most beautiful Miss World or Miss Universe here, right? So it was a love at first sight. They both met in person. And this is what happens in this material world as well, right? We see someone who's very good looking, and just on the physical appearance of a person, we fall in love with a person, right? We get to know, like, that is love at first sight. Like, first time when we see someone, we just fall in love with that person. And then we get to know more about that person, like how that person behaves, this, that, and all of that, right? So when King Pururava saw Urvashi, he was so smitten by the beauty, by the physical beauty of the Urvashi. He thought, like, I have to marry her. So King Pururava just asked out loud, will you marry me? So Urvashi, of course, she was more than ready, but she put in some conditions there. She said that, well, I will, but I have some conditions. She said that these two pets that I have, you see in this picture, she had two lambs as her pets. So these two pets, they should be treated as our sons, and they should be given full protection. And my food, the food that I eat, should be cooked in pure ghee. That was one of her conditions. And then one condition was that king will never show himself naked in front of her, other than If they are embracing each other, that's a different thing. But other than that, she did not want to see the king naked. So while she was saying all these conditions to King Pururava, there was this Gandharva, Vishvasu, who overheard this entire conversation. And he eavesdropped and he overheard this entire conversation, and he thought to himself that this information will be used somewhere in future. So when there is love at first sight, there is breakup at first fight, right? So what happened is, now King Indra started missing Urvashi in his assembly, because Urvashi was on earth, and as she was cursed, and King Indra, he started missing Urvashi because she was so beautiful and she was a damsel and everything. So Gandharva Vishvasu was present there. Vishvasu was the same Gandharva who had overheard the entire conversation between King Pururava and Urvashi. So this Gandharva said, "Oh, I can bring her back." So he volunteered, and so Vishvasu, with his entire team, he came on planet Earth. He entered the kingdom of King Pururava when it was dark in the night, and he kidnaps Urvashi's 2 pet lambs. Right. So remember those 3 conditions which I had mentioned, right? On why Urvashi married King Pururava, on what conditions, right? So now when he was trying to kidnap, when Vishvasu was trying to kidnap those 2 lambs, Urvashi started shouting loudly, and King was in deep sleep, right? So she shouts and she yells at King, "Oh, you king, you are so, are you a woman? Just go and find my lambs, and these kidnappers have taken them away," and blah, blah, blah. And she started ranting at King. So King ran behind those kidnappers and brought the pets back to Urvashi. And because Vishvasu had heard those conditions that Urvashi had kept, and one of the condition was that that the king should not show up as naked in front of Urvashi, right? So what they did, they illuminated his entire body, because king wasn't wearing clothes. It was nighttime and they were sleeping, and in the middle of night he woke up and started running behind the pets, and he brought them back. But when king brought them back, he stood in front of Urvashi as naked. And so this broke one of his promises that he had made to Urvashi. So Urvashi said that, this is not done. You have broken one of my promises. So this is done, and we have to break up, So at that time, King Pururava was, heartbroken. He was like, he could not imagine his life without Urvashi. So there was long conversation that went on between them. He was trying to convince her that it's not my fault, and then she was saying, "No, I don't care," and all of that. So Urvashi came up with a plan. She said, "Okay, fine. What I will do is I will, I will reveal. I will do one thing. Every year, I will come once in a year on planet Earth, and we both can embrace each other, and we will beget a child from that, and then I'll go back. But it will happen only once in a year." So for several years, King Urvashi kept coming on planet Earth, and they embraced each other, and they beget children, and she used to go back. But after several years, the king started feeling that vacuum. He said, "I don't feel happy doing this. We are so separated from each other." Then Urvashi said that, why don't you pray to, why don't you plead to Gandharvas? Maybe, they will, like Lord Vishnu, maybe if your prayer are fulfilled, then you will get me forever. So what he did, he prayed, he did intense austerity. So he prayed to Gandharvas and he got Urvashi back. But these Gandharvas had tricked him. Like what they did, they sent an illusory Urvashi. So basically it was not Urvashi, it was a duplicate of Urvashi. So when King Pururava embraced that illusory Urvashi, he could feel it like it's not the same person. So he was very disheartened, and he felt very bad. So his determination to be with Urvashi was further, he was further determined to get Urvashi. So he prayed to get his materialistic desire fulfilled, to live with Urvashi on Gandharva planet. So what he said that, like, if she cannot come on Earth, I will go there. So that's what he started for. praying for, but it was a materialistic desire, right? So basically so here the story ends, and of course he because he had a desire and he performed intense austerity for it, so Lord Vishnu fulfilled his desire, and he went back to Gandharva planet and stayed with Urvashi there, right? So the moral of the story is that, of course, he had lost his true purpose or true goal of human life, right? He was running after a woman in a way, like, and he was so mad, madly in love with that woman, that she became the center of everything he did, right? And and it led to anxiety, it led to anger, it led to so many different feelings, and he went through so much, like so many ups and downs in his life. So it all revolved around his fulfillment of his lust, right? So now the question is that what is lust, right? So lust, as we all know, is defined as perverted reflection of love, right? What we call as love in the spiritual world is called as material lust. So it's a perverted reflection of love, right? So in Hindi we will call lust as kama. Kama means desire to please our senses, and love is prema. Prema means to please the senses of Krishna, keeping the fulfillment of Krishna's sense satisfaction at the center, right? So that is the difference between kama and prema. And lust is also one of the 6 anarthas, right? So lust, anger, pride, envy, greed, and illusion, right? So lust is transformed into love. We fell from the spiritual world because we wanted to, we wanted to enjoy separately from Krishna. So we are here, and that love has transformed into lust. And now this lust can be transformed again back to love through bhakti, right? So now the question is that who has lust? If you ask me, maybe I will say, no, I'm not lusty. I don't have lust, right? Because we understand the meaning of lust only in terms of, because lust word is mostly related to, we think of it only with respect to sensual desires. But lust can be anything or any undue attachment to anything material, whether it's an object or it's a person, for our own sense gratification, right? So every one of us has lust to some degree. There are 8.4 million species, right? And all of these species are covered by different degrees of lust. They have got different bodies because they had certain desires, right? And out of these 8.4 million species, there are 400,000 types of human species, right? So when we look at humans like you and me, we all look the same. We have the same set of eyes, ears, nose, this, that. We all look same. We walk, talk, eat. All of that looks very similar in all of us. But what differs between one human to another human is the level of our consciousness. So each one of us, like out of these 400,000 species, we all are at different level of consciousness. Now, since I'm in India and I met my family members, so it's so evident, like even though we are born from the same set of parents, all of us siblings are at different levels. Like, we think differently. We are so different in our goals, in so many different things. Like, we are so different from each other, even with our friends, even in our spiritual community, we can see each one of us is so different from each other. We are at different level of consciousness, right? So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is assuring that we are different from each other and we all are at different levels of our consciousness. So he's saying, Dhumin avrite vanir, yatha darshu malenacha, yathul vinavrito garbhas, tatha tenidam avritam. As fire is covered by smoke, as mirror is covered by dust, or embryo is covered by womb, the living entity is similarly covered by different degrees of their lust. So we all are covered by lust. Someone is covered more, someone is covered less. So there are different permutations and combinations available. So lust is the worst of all enemies, right? As I mentioned before, it is one of the 6 anarthas, right? And this particular anartha, we have 6 anarthas, 6 impurities of the heart, right? they are like the different unnecessary salts in the water, right? So we filter the water and then the water becomes fit for drinking. Similarly, our heart has been many impurities. So we need to clean our heart. We need to clean the space of our heart. Cheto darpan marjanam. So we have to clean that space, right? So one of the impurities is lust. And this impurity is such that it is actually the root for all other impurities. So Krishna is mentioning very clearly that this is worst of all the enemies. So he mentions it is lust only, Arjuna, which is born of contact with the material mode of passion and later transformed into wrath, and which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. Kamesha, Krodesha, Rajoguna, Samadbhava, right? Maha Ashno, Maha Papmo. So it is the all-devouring sinful enemy. So this lust can be for anything, right? Anything that I want to achieve, or I want to get any object or any position or anything, right? So that is all desire, right? So, and when I want to do that for myself, that is a lusty desire, that is lust, right? So whenever those desires are fulfilled, I have more desire. If I achieve A, I want to achieve B. If I achieve B, I want to achieve C. So it's like an itch. The more you scratch, the more it becomes itchy, right? So the more the merrier. Shop till you drop, they say, right? There's a term like workaholics and alcoholics, there's shopaholics, because we don't get satisfied with 5 sets of clothes. Maybe we want 10, and then we want 15, and then we want the whole wardrobe, 50 pairs of shoes and this and that. So we don't get satisfied. So our fulfilled lust leads to greed, means we want more and more and more and more. But our unfulfilled lust leads to anger. So agar mil jaye to khone ka dar, and na mile to anger. So mil jata hai koi hame jo chahiye wo mil jata hai as it is, then we feel we might lose it at any time, right? Fear of losing. But if we don't get it, we get angry, right? So this is like a very vicious circle, a cycle between lust, greed, and anger. And of course, if our desires get fulfilled, we will develop pride. And if our desires don't get fulfilled and someone else's desires get fulfilled, which we wanted, we will develop envy, right? So all of these anarthas are rooting from the lust. So very good examples that we have, of course, very common examples quoted multiple times is Ajamil versus Haridas Thakur, right? So how Ajamil, he was a Brahmana, and how he was overpowered by lust when he saw a prostitute, and he started having this lusty desire to embrace that prostitute. And it all started from seeing and contemplating on the prostitute. And then, of course, it eventually led to his fall down. And we all know the rest of the story, what happens. He bore so many kids with that prostitute, and then he begged, borrowed, steal to maintain his family. And at the age of 80 also, he was begetting children. So he was overpowered by lust. And versus Haridas Thakur, who was in a similar situation. So external circumstance was same for both Ajamil and Haridas Thakur. It was the internal circumstance that was different. So Haridas Thakur was empowered by love, by Krishna's love, because he was constantly very, Eke He Kuru Nandana, Vyavsai Atmika Buddhi, very single-mindedly and, very with resolute determination. He was just chanting his rounds properly. And that's how he was sheltered, and he was protected from the lusty desire. So Ajamil took association and he lost all his Brahmanical qualities, versus Haridas Thakur, who gave his association to prostitute, and she started chanting the holy names, right? So how do we fight this lust, right? The story is good. What is lust is good. Who has lust and all of that we understood. But how do we really practically fight with lust? So let's fight lust with lust. So this is an acronym, LUST. So L is loud and clear chanting of holy names, right? Of course, what we do daily, loud and clear chanting, and of course, trying to improve not only the quantity, but also the quality of our chanting. Understand philosophy. U is for understand philosophy. Just knowing about these things, like, that there are 6 anarthas, that how we are covered with the different degrees of lust. So reading Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, reading all these different stories in which we see the downfall happening, these different stories, different pastimes, for our own understanding and for our own purification. S is for spiritual association. So of course, association is important to do anything in life, right? If you want to achieve something also, you need to start associating with people who are already excelling in that field, right? So we need to associate with like-minded and right-minded people. So association, so they say that association shapes our desires. So association does not only mean the physical proximity, it's an exchange of desires, right? So there is a term called triangularity of desires. I have shared this a couple of times in our Bhakti Viksha group also. So triangularity of desires mean that, the advertisement industry, they tap on this particular concept a lot. So whenever they have to market a product, for example, they have to market, let's say, Fair and Lovely cream. So they will bring the best, the most beautiful Bollywood actress, let's say Aishwarya Rai Bachchan, and she will be endorsing this product. So when you see Aishwarya Rai endorsing Fair and Lovely, you would like to buy it, because it's not the Fair and Lovely, it's actually Aishwarya Rai who is endorsing that product. Therefore, you want to own that product now. So that is the triangularity of desires. So in spirituality, when we see Bhagavad Gita, when we see Srimad Bhagavatam, when we see bead bags, these spiritual objects do not reveal their attractiveness in a very linear fashion. Like if there's a Bhagavad Gita kept in right in front of me, so we take Bhagavad Gita as it is and then we keep it as it is, right? So when we have Bhagavad Gita sitting right in front of, we may not get the desire to read it. But when we see someone else reading Bhagavad Gita and he's quoting verses and explaining from Bhagavad Gita and sharing such timeless wisdom in a very, very beautiful, practical manner, then you get the desire, wow, this book has so much of wealth of knowledge. Let me also try open and see what it feels like. Or when we see someone else playing very nice mridanga or kartals, or so association is shaping our desires. And when we stay in spiritual association, our spiritual desires will grow and our material desires will go. Right? And T is for tolerate for Krishna. So sometimes it is very difficult, right? So to get rid of these desires so quickly, because there are so many lifetimes after lifetimes of dirt that has accumulated. So it will take some time for cleaning. So sometimes it's about just tolerating for Krishna, like, just tolerating the itch. If you try to itch it, it will, you'll have to itch more. So just tolerating it for Krishna. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity. I'm 5 minutes late, but thank you very much, everyone, for hearing this. Sorry, it was a very, very short presentation, and I don't know if I could cover all the points. Yeah, that's it from my end.
Thank you, Mate. Despite of your quick, busy schedule, you're able to pull this out. Definitely, I was saying, it's very interesting how it describes the power of lust, right? And actually, this event happened in Satyuga, and Pururava could not actually forget Urvashi. And actually, he continued even till Treta Yuga and performed this Vedic sacrifice. Actually, he inaugurated the Karma Kanda, actually, Pururava. So he's the first person to invoke, because like in Satya Yuga, actually the meditation was, the main primary deity was Lord Narayan at the time. And the Pranama mantra, especially the chanting, was only Omkara. And only demigod that was being worshipped at the time is Agni during the Satya Yuga time. So he actually invoked all these karma kanta. So this is one of the important facts. And we got, I think, about 6 children from Urvashi. And we can hear the story in Mahabharata regarding Arjuna going to heavenly planet, when Urvashi was so much attracted to Arjuna and want to have relationship with him. And now, because Arjuna, the Pandavas were the lineage of Pururava, that's why Arjuna reminds, you like our mother. So that's also the connecting with Pururava. And wonderful, you presented, Chaitanya Charitamrita is explained, how the desire, Atmendriya Priti Vansha, Tare Bali Kama, Krishnendriya Priti Iksha, Dhare Prema Nama. So when we try to, so much focus in satisfying our own material desire and how powerful it can be, what kind of label we can grow, right? And that's what we can see in Pururava. Almost actually he spent his whole life, like, to satisfy waiting for Urvashi, the whole millennium actually, you can see that. So this is a condition actually, and the power of lust is so powerful, and you really point out the point about Jamila and Haridas Thakur. I think it's a wonderful point also that sometimes it's not external when we are really internally very powerful. So external cannot affect us. So it is very, very important that we internally grow ourselves, our consciousness, elevate it. Then external things cannot affect us, right? And that's what actually I think Krishna consciousness is all about. So thank you again for bringing this out. So any devotees, and have any questions, any comments, please open the floor.
I think Sankari
Very
Khor
much.
Mataji.
Kindly go ahead.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my pranams. Just wanted to say Hare Krishna to you. It's been long and so good to know that you're in India. Very, very nice presentation. Very crisp, very precise, very to the point. I really love the acronym that you presented at the end, control lust by lust. I think that was amazing. Sometimes, it's always good to have these kind of acronyms because they're easier to remember and easier to relate to. So I think that for me, that was the highlight of the presentation. Thank you very much for putting that there. Thank you so much.
Mataji.
Mataji.
It's just a copy paste. In ISKCON, they say copyright means copy is the right. So I just took it from some of the lectures that I might have heard in the past. So I remembered that and I just copy pasted.
Thank you so much for the copy paste, because I myself do that all the time because I don't have any ability to do anything. So I totally rely on copy paste. But yes, that's the way to propagate knowledge. When we disseminate, that's when we propagate. So thank you so much, Mataji. That was a wonderful presentation, and have a safe rest of your journey.
Thank you very much, Mataji.
Okay. Wonderful copy paste. So anybody else has any other question, comments? So I think that's pretty much it. So thank you again, Sudha Mataji, for bringing this wonderful topic and enhance it in a very wonderful way. Thank you, everyone. So please, thanks Sudha Mataji. With loud Haribo, unmute ourselves.
Haribo.
Haribo.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for listening in.
Everybody, will see everyone tomorrow. Again at 8 a.m. Definitely, please try to join. Tomorrow also, in Japa call, 6 starts at 6 a.m. Try to join, and 8 a.m. we'll have an hour Sunday program. Tomorrow, Padma Prabhu is going to speak in our Sunday program in the center. So do not miss that. So, and also I think who is going to speak tomorrow? Let me give information. Tomorrow, Sri Harsha Prabhu is going to speak, and there's also a wonderful topic, King Sadyumna's sex desire. So the power of lust, we're going to continue again tomorrow. So thank you again, everyone. So Ramchandra, do you want to say anything, or you're good?
No, I'm good. As always, wonderful presentation, and the enthusiasm.